Hello folks, welcome back to the Superchunk Show. Today we've got something special from a brand that has a lot of heart, Acous. So they have sent over their latest release, the NA20, and that's what we are going to talk about today. Previously I reviewed the NM20, which is more of a monitoring focused IEM. The NA20, on the other hand, promises to be more musical as it is tuned for music enjoyment rather than monitoring. Let's go! Starting with an unboxing, Acous is one of those brands that really take pride in the IEMs that they make. Unlike some other brands that just basically toss in the IEM into a box and just literally call it quits. The NA20 here keeps things rather cohesive with its monitoring counterpart, the NM20. It comes in a well-designed box that is very similar in style, very similar typography, all that good stuff, featuring a render of the IEM on the front with a clean and cohesive presentation. At the back, there's more info laid out in their now iconic styling. Under the sleeve, you get a flip open box, and inside is where all the goodies are at. What caught my eye first were the earphones themselves, sitting on a platform that really reminds me of a vinyl record. Below that, you'll find the cable and the Acous MS42 ear tips, which I actually think are seriously underrated. They are very well made, and if paired with the right earphone, they sound fantastic. On the left, you get some literature and a hard case that you can use to transport the NA20s around. It is very solid, and you probably can use the case as a golf ball if you want. It's quite fun to spec it around. Build quality. Now the NA20 has a clear brown chassis, and I gotta say that's certainly really quite refreshing. When was the last time you saw an IEM with a clear brown finish? It's quite different from the NM20, which had a painted silver trim at the edge. The NA20, on the other hand, has a metal ring on the faceplate, and in all honesty, it feels a bit more premium compared to just pure plain plastic. The contrast between plastic and metal here really works. There's a 2-pin termination that sticks out just a little. Some people might be worried about that, but in my experience, it's not really a big deal. If anything, it helps keep the shell smaller and makes it more comfortable to wear. And yes, comfort here is excellent. Inside, the NA20 uses the new MC2L100M dynamic driver with a beryllium-coated diaphragm, and it features dual magnets and cavity too. I also like how Acous sticks to using the single dynamic drivers in their IEMs. They are just super coherent. The cable here is a 6N OFC. It is very soft and pliable, easy to manage and terminated to a 3.5mm plug. Sonic sound. The NA20 adopts a V-shaped tuning, which is actually quite a bit different from what Acous typically does. There's a reduced upper mids presence compared to their usual sound. That said, it is still pretty much there. There's still upper mids. It's not nerfed till oblivion. It's still pretty much there. I actually like this tuning shift. Some of their earlier IEMs were a bit too bright. This one is just more mass appealing. The NA20 is musical sounding, and I found it works especially well with vocal-centric tracks. One song I really enjoyed was True Colors by Clara. Her voice came through beautifully with just a touch of warmth. It is super cohesive sounding, and that is something you only really get from a single dynamic driver setup. Dynamics are also great. The way it handles volume shift is simply effortless, and that makes music more exciting. For this review, I used the Lotu Port GT2, which has more than enough power to power the NA20. Bass. The NA20 has a good amount of bass. It is definitely not lean. The bass is fast with a nice resonant response, especially when compared to other single magnet dynamic drivers. It also feels very dynamic, which helps bring life into tracks that are a bit more compressed. There's a physical air movement to it, and that is really satisfying. Bass texture and resolution are also very solid and should please a lot of people. It is not a bass hit IEM, but the rumble is really nicely controlled. Decay is nimble. It tapers off in a way that reminds me of how real-life bass behaves, very clean sounding. Mid-range, this is where things feel different from other Acous IEMs. There is still a bit of upper mids lift, but nowhere near what they have done before. To me, this makes it much more palatable to listen. Mid-range resolution is very good, especially with vocals. You can hear the fine nuances in the singer's voice. And that makes you feel like you are in a live show and the singer is right there. Instruments are spaced well from the vocals, they are very clear, but they don't really draw attention unless you are actively listening for them. You can actually tell that Acous is borrowing from their pro pedigree here. There's a very high level of resolution. Treble extension is great, it is effortless and gives you an airy listening experience, especially at this price. It is not offensive either, smooth, and that'll be great for folks who are new to the hobby. Next, soundstage. As for soundstage, I'd say it sounds taller than wide. Still, it does a decent job with both width and height. In terms of depth and positioning, it is good overall, though I find positioning a little bit constricted. It is not the widest sounding IM out there. Comparison, so versus the Acous NM20, compared to the NM20, the NA20 is just more musical. It's more friendly sounding with a relaxed upper mids, vocals sound beautiful. The NM20 has more detail, but it is also more intense. It might take a more trained ear to fully appreciate it. If you are casual listening, go with the NA20. If you want something that is for very serious listening, then go with the NM20. Versus the Simgot Super Mix 4, the Super Mix 4 has a totally different driver setup. One dynamic driver, one balance armature, one planar, and one piezoelectric tweeter. Tonally, it is warmer than the NA20, but personally I find the Super Mix 4 to be smooth, maybe a little bit too smooth. The NA20 pull hits in micro detail. If you want something that is very laid back, go with the Super Mix 4. If you want something that is a bit more engaging, go with the NA20. Next up, rating. So with bass, it has really excellent quality and very good dynamics. It gets a solid 8. Mid-range, very beautiful vocal rendering, it gets an 8. Treble is smooth with very good detail, a 7.5. With resolution, basically the NA20 resolves fine details very well, it gets a 7.5. Soundstage, overall it has good size and depth and really rather good positioning as well, it gets a 7.5. And of course, when it comes to enjoyment, so for enjoyment factor, I did enjoy this earphone quite a bit. Gets a solid A+. And finally, in conclusion, with the NA20, Acous is doing something rather new. It's their way of opening their doors to more people with a tuning that is just more approachable and musical. I had a great time with the NA20, especially when I was in the mood for vocals. Thank you so much for watching the Super Chong Super Audio Show. I hope to see you guys soon again. It's great to be back. I'm less sick now, so yeah. Oh yeah, we'll be out again by the time you're watching this video, because now I'm pacing one video a week. I'm sorry, I can't do 2 a week. I'm very busy. With that said, thank you guys so much. We'll be away. I'm gonna go away, so I'll be back with more things. Bye.